Well, here goes nothing. Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. Hello? No, but seriously, if I had a nickel for every time someone asked me to start a YouTube channel, I'd have like 20 cents or something. It's 2017 and everyone thinks their opinions matter when they really don't. So I decided to start this channel to talk about makeup and beauty and wine and cats and whatever else I feel like. So for my first video, I decided I would do sort of a current favorites. These are all the things that I've either recently discovered or rediscovered and I've been grabbing for a lot lately, just in like the past month. I was gonna call this a July favorites, but July's not really over yet, so this is more of a current favorites. I will be doing a Holy Grail products video or products that I can't live without video. That'll be next, presuming that this one turns out okay. I guess we'll see. So if you wanna see some of my current beauty favorites, keep watching. So the first thing that I've been absolutely loving recently is this bad boy right here. This is the Jaclyn Hill and Morphe palette. I absolutely love this palette. It is so unbelievably gorgeous. I love all the shades in it. It's got all these gorgeous warm tones, really beautiful shimmers. I kind of stay away from this corner down here because I'm a 33-year-old woman and I can't rock like teal, purple, and electric blue eyeshadow on the reg. Like, it just doesn't work for me. I work in a professional office and I don't think it would fly. I would probably go for these with maybe for like a pop of color on underneath my lash line, but I am wearing this palette on my eyes today. I absolutely love it. I do want to address two things about this. The first is all the noise that has been on YouTube about like, is the palette pigmented or is it not pigmented? You know, brush swatches versus finger swatches and that sort of thing. I mean, you really can't say that this palette isn't pigmented. It's gorgeous. Every single shadow in this palette is so beautiful, so pigmented, and blends so beautifully. Like, and you can't say that it's not pigmented. Like, let's just swatch a couple. Like, come on. I mean, really. It is absolutely beautiful. Let's try another one. I love this cranberry shade. Absolutely gorgeous. So the second thing I want to talk about with this palette is the price. I know that there was a lot of people upset about the fact that this palette by Morphe of 35 shades was more expensive than a regular Morphe palette that has 35 shades. Jaclyn and Morphe came out and said it's because the ingredients are different, the formula is different, every shadow in this palette had to be pressed differently so that it could perform the way she wanted it to. So that is supposed to account for the increase in price. This palette is $38 US, but I'm up in Canada, so when I bought it online, by the time I paid shipping, taxes, and exchange, my credit card was charged $78 Canadian. But then I got a letter in the mail from FedEx after my palette was delivered, and I owed an additional $19 in duties. So the actual price of this palette to me was $97 Canadian. I have to say, I still think it's absolutely worth it. I would pay $97 for this in the store. You get 35 beautiful shades. This is basically all I've been wearing on my eyes since I got the palette. So for me, it's well worth the price. So yes, first fave. The next thing I've been loving recently is this Dr. Brandt Exfoliator. This is the Microdermabrasion Age Defying Exfoliator. I have sensitive skin and rosacea, so I have to be really careful with exfoliators. I do have combination skin as well, so I'm oily in the T-zone and I have dry patches on my cheeks. And so I really need a good exfoliator that's going to polish away those dry patches, but not like really aggravate my sensitive skin and make my face redder than it already is. How I use this is I will exfoliate with this and then I'll follow it up with a hydrating sheet mask and a really creamy moisturizer after that. I find that I have super soft skin the next day and it's not harsh and it doesn't irritate my skin. So I really, really love this. I actually got this in a FabFitFun box, I think. I went onto the Sephora website and I think the packaging for this now is actually black and I think this costs $98. So I was really happy that I got this in a subscription box, but I probably will purchase it again after because it has worked so well for me. The next product that I've been loving is also from Dr. Brandt. This is the Dr. Brandt Pores No More Luminizer Primer. I have been on the hunt for the perfect foundation and primer for my skin tone. I haven't found it yet, but I'm still working on it, and this is actually going a long way. I really, really love this. I've tried, in the last 6 months, I've probably tried upwards of 20 primers, and this has been the best one so far. This primer is actually comparable to the Benefit Professional or the Makeup Forever Smoothing Primer, but it's just a lot less dry and a little bit more hydrating, which is good for my skin. This does not erase my pores, but nothing does. Like, my pores, especially in this area, like, it's impossible to conceal them. Like, I don't care how much a primer costs, I don't care what kind of magical properties it has, nothing erases pores completely. And my pores in this area are so deep, like if you get too close, you'll fall in. Like, it's really ridiculous. This spot between my brows is also a major problem for me, probably because I spend the majority of my day making this face. So I'm starting to develop some fine lines in here, so I really need to make sure that I have a primer that fills in those fine lines so that my foundation can lay nicely over top of it. And this primer has actually done really, really well with that. Can we just talk about this for a second? Because I've noticed, especially in the last 2 years, and since I've gotten more into makeup and I like spend, 30 minutes a day staring at myself in a mirror that's this close to my face, I've really started noticing like fine lines and pores and that sort of thing. And I don't know if it's like since I turned 30 or what, but I feel like my skin has kind of gone downhill in the last little while. And this is not anything that I've ever worried about before. I actually feel like I break out now more as an adult than I ever did as a teenager. When I was 20, I was fancy free, I was going out in the sun constantly, I was applying like Tropicana oil to my face, I was sitting in the sun for hours at a time. Now, if you can even get me outside, I'm like SPF 70 and under an umbrella. If I could talk to my younger self, I would be like, girl, put on some sunscreen and then maybe you won't have to worry about fine lines when you're 33. Oh, and also here's a list of boys you should definitely avoid. The next thing I've been loving recently is this Urban Decay Travel Duo. This is a set of Quick Fix and Urban Decay All Nighter, which is like my holy grail setting spray. These two came together in a little travel duo that was $25 at Sephora Canada. And I got this because I wanted to try Quick Fix. I knew that I would use the All Nighter, but I wanted to try this and I didn't want to pay the money for a full size in case I didn't like it. Some people advise to avoid the travel sizes at Sephora at all costs because I guess on a like per milliliter basis, you're paying more than you would if you bought the full size. I think differently only because I would rather be out $12.50 than be out whatever the full size of this is, $36, even if it's costing me less money per milliliter. So I actually use this on my cheeks in combination with that Dr. Brandt Pores No More Luminizer Primer that I talked about earlier. So I'll use that primer in my T-zone and then I'll spray this on the cheeks, and it's actually very hydrating. I really love the coconut smell. So I will definitely be repurchasing this when this runs out. And of course I used this already, so. Next thing I've been loving recently is this. This is the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Powder Foundation. I use this to set my liquid foundation, and it is so beautiful. This powder is so finely milled, and it is very, very gorgeous. I find that it does not settle into my fine lines, and it gives me sort of a beautiful airbrushed finish. The reason why I bought this is actually because I hit pan on this. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Skin Perfecting Micro Powder. I think the longer the name is, the more they can charge you because this shit is hella expensive. But I hit pan on it so fast, which was so heartbreaking because this is such a gorgeous powder. This is like my favorite face powder that I have ever used. But I find that this Giorgio Armani powder is very similar. Now, this is not cheap. This is, I think, $68 at Sephora Canada. But I have found that a little goes a long way with this powder, and it actually has lasted me quite a while. What I will say about this is, I don't know why they call it a powder foundation. You could never use this as a foundation. Like, the only way that you could use this as a foundation is if you look like a porcelain doll as it is, and then you don't even need foundation. So I definitely use this as a setting powder and not a foundation because I don't find that this provides any coverage whatsoever. So really, I just use this to set the cream products on my face, and that's it. The next thing I've been loving recently is this Anastasia Beverly Hills and Nicole Guerriero Glow Kit. This is a highlighting palette that has 6 shades in it, and I'm super late to the party on this one. I realized that. I actually saw this on YouTube when all of the beauty gurus were reviewing it and everything, and I decided to pass on it because when I look at the pans, they just seemed too colorful for me and too dark for me. I have a really fair skin tone, and so I just thought that none of these were gonna work and they were just gonna look like, you know, a streak of color on my skin. But once I actually got my hands on the palette and started swatching it, I realized that you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, or judge a powder by its pan, I guess. When I started swatching these, I realized that the color is more behind the glow. I'll just swatch a few of these really quickly for you. Like, these are absolutely gorgeous. Like, they are so blinding and so beautiful. The powders are so nice and so pigmented. I'm actually wearing this one right here, Glow Getter, on my face today. And this is honestly the only highlighting palette that I've been reaching for lately. I really, really love it. Next thing I've been loving recently is this Luxie Beauty brush. This is actually a brush that came in my BoxyCharm box, and I was originally gonna give this away because I had no idea what I was gonna do with it. Like, it seriously is like the floppiest brush, and I was like, what the hell is this for? I have no idea. But then I watched Kathleen Light's BoxyCharm video, and she says that she uses this as a blush brush. I have been using this for blush. This is the Morphe E4, and even this brush is like, oh, there's powder coming out. This brush is like even super dense, and I noticed that like unless I use a really, really light hand, I was getting like major, you know, clown cheeks going on. I only like a very small amount of blush, and this is actually perfect because it's very light and soft, and it allows me to sort of deposit the blush on my face without putting too much product down, and then I can blend it out and I have a more natural look. I also don't like to wear a lot of blush because I feel like even with the best foundations, my rosacea can sometimes peek through on my cheeks, so it sort of acts like a blush as it is, and if I put more blush on top of that, I just look like I'm really, really red. So I really love this brush for blush these days, and it's replaced this one in my collection. So this is by Luxie Beauty, and it is the 640 Pro Precision Tapered. This next product is something that I actually recently rediscovered. This is the Makeup Geek Sparkler in the shade Halo. I recently put together an eye look that's sort of smoky and lavender, and I put a little bit of this on top of it with some Too Faced glitter glue, and it just sort of took the look to a really glamorous spot. So I really, really love this. Next favorite is not really a beauty favorite, but I have to show him. This is Mr. Biggie Smalls. This is my new kitty. His name is Biggie Smalls. Smile for the people. When we got him, he was so little. We got him from a veterinary hospital here in the city. Actually, it's really sad where he came from. Somebody actually dumped 2 litters of brand new kittens into a garbage bag and threw them in a dumpster. I just think that you absolutely have to be a vile piece of shit to do that to a kitten. But somebody luckily found them and brought them to the vet, where the vets and the vet assistants hand raised them. Biggie was the little runt of the litter. You're killing me, Smalls. So he's definitely a favorite. He is about 4 months old. Can you hear him purring? Oh my god. Hey. Alright, you can go now. And what would a favorites video be without a wine favorite? This is the Villa Maria Sauvignon Blanc. This is the Cellar Selection. I got this for $22.99 at my local liquor store, and I'm drinking some right now. This is just a really easy drinking white for the hot summer months. I love red wine, but I cannot drink it right now because it is just too damn hot. This has like peachy floral notes on the nose. And this has a really smooth finish. It's not too acidic like some other Sauvignon Blancs that make the inside of your mouth feel like you just ate a family-sized bag of Sour Patch Kids. Not that I know what that's like. Villa Maria Sauvignon Blanc Cellar Selection, my wine favorite for this month. That is it for my first YouTube video. My plan right now is to upload every Tuesday, so if you like this video, please subscribe and let me know in the comments what kind of videos you want to see. If you didn't like this video, I'm kind of wondering what you're still doing here. But either way, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next Tuesday. The tip of the tongue, the teeth, the lips. I will, no. Have either, oh my God, this is so hard. What the fuck am I saying? I don't know what I'm saying. Doesn't even matter, no one's gonna watch this. So, let's go ahead. Yeah, burp while you're talking, that's a great idea. Stop saying super, like, stop rolling your eyes. I actually have a plan to, okay, sit up straight, sit up straight. So I will definitely be repurching this. Perching. I also don't like to wear a lot of brush because why do I keep saying brush instead of blush? Say hi to YouTube. You're gonna be my first YouTube video. Okay, stop. Ow! Stop trying to, really? This is the Villa Maria. This has like peachy floral notes on the, oh my God. Okay, that was not smooth. Don't you hate those bags that say great for sharing on them and you're like, I just ate the entire thing by myself? Awesome. The camera adds 10 pounds. God, how many cameras are on me? You're so sweet. Yes, I am a crazy cat lady. No, I am not sorry. Oh my God, are we done? I want to be done.